So with the UTS 100K now around a month away, I wanted to share in this video some key pieces of kit that I've been trying and testing out in training, particularly with a mountain focus. So I'm going to share here 5 bits of kit in total, and also one bonus item at the end, which might be a bit of a surprise, but something I'm planning on packing and taking along to the UTS 100K on race day. Item number 1 is my running poles, and these are made by Harrier. They are the Helvellyn Pro Carbon. I've raced with these a couple of times before, so in 2 races I've used them previously. The South Downs Way 100 last year, I had them for the last 30 miles. As my legs were starting to fatigue, they were particularly useful there. And then I also used them for a 50 miler, the last 30 miles of a particularly hilly 50 miler. That was the Copthorne 50 the year before last. So I have had some practice with them in racing before, but I've been getting used to them in training again and trying to use them at least once a week in preparation for the UTS 100K. But found them to be great, super light, and very easy to stow away as well. There's a little button that you press on the side of the poles, and then that kind of releases them, and it means you can fold them down. They are fixed height, so they're not adjustable poles, which is part of the reason why they are lighter, because often adjustable poles have a bit more weight, a bit more bulk to them. So if you get some poles like this, you do want to make sure that they are the right height for you. But on the Harrier website, they've got a good size guiding where you can look at your height and then think about the length poles that would be right for you. And a couple of other features on these poles. So firstly, they've got these rubber things that you can put on the end. So if you are on terrain that is particularly firm, then you can use those. If you're on softer terrain like grass or mud, then you can take those off, and then you've got the spikes which can dig in nicely and give you a good bit of traction as you're moving along. The other nice feature they've got is there's a little clip which allows you, when you're stowing your poles, to clip one part of the pole to the other, which just means that they don't bounce around and jangle as much, because that can be really annoying if you're going along and you can feel them bouncing up and down and kind of hitting against each other. So those are a couple of features that I really like about these ones. So in terms of storing my poles, and this leads me on to item number 2, this is my waist belt from Decathlon. It's got a couple of elastic bits on the back, and when your poles are folded up, you can store them in there. They don't bounce around, and because you've got a couple of adjustable bits on each side, so you can fit it to the size of your waist. And there's also a couple of other good features. So on the front, you've got a pocket which is waterproof. You can put your phone in there. There's also other pockets at the front, so you can store nutrition in there or whatever you might like. I've also added in to my waist belt a little clip where you can put a key as well, and when it's stored in that front pocket, it stops it from bouncing around. So yeah, really good belt overall, so I'll be taking that along with me. And actually, one other feature on the back which I really like is that it's also got these bits here. It's like little padded bits to stop your poles from digging into to your back. So that works really well, makes it nice and comfortable. The next 3 items have all been sent to me by Harrier for the purpose of review. I'm under no obligation to say anything positive about them. I haven't been financially compensated for this video, and all of the views I share on these items are my own. So item number 3 is this, which is a bivy bag or a survival bag. And this is essentially, so if anything happens, if you get injured, for instance, and you're cold, you're out in the mountains, you're waiting for a rescue team to get there, then you can climb into this to keep warm. And typically I haven't used one of these on races before. I've usually gone with a foil blanket. But on the mandatory kit list for the UTS 100K, it's a bag instead of one of these. And I can see the advantages, because of course, with something like a foil blanket, particularly if you're up a mountain, it could be flying all over the place, not necessarily keeping you warm and insulated. So that's why I can see on a mountain race, they would go with something like this. Disadvantage to this, of course, is that it's a bit heavier. So if you compare the two, this is over twice the weight of a foil blanket. But in terms of safety, of course, this is going to give you a lot more than a foil blanket would. Also safety related then for item number 4 is a first aid kit, and this one is super light whilst also having a lot in there, a lot of different things that you might need. I haven't tended to take along too many things to previous ultras that I've done. Usually a dressing, I think, has been on the mandatory kit list. But this one's good because you can swap things in and out. So if there's certain things that you want to keep, certain things you want to take out, you can. One of the features I like about this is that it's also got a really lightweight LED torch in it, which means if your head torch goes but you need to attract attention, then you've got the light in here that you can take out and use. Piece of kit number 5 then is waterproof trousers, and these are the Harrier Dartmoor waterproof trousers. They've got an adjustable waistband so you can fit them to your size. There's also a waterproof pocket on the back, and they've got tape seams, which means they meet the mandatory kit requirements of the UTS 100K. And the other thing I also like about them is there is this long zip towards the bottom of them, and that means that you can put the trousers on whilst keeping your shoes on, because of course if you're in the middle of the race and there's a downpour, you don't really want to be taking your shoes off and then putting your trousers on, then putting your shoes back on, because then your feet could get wet. But this allows you to keep your shoes on and then put the trousers on at the same time. So really, really like that. And these are not necessarily the lightest waterproof trousers. There are others out there on the market that are certainly lighter, but I think they strike a good balance of being light enough to carry around so you don't notice them too much, but also giving you that extra bit of warmth, particularly if you're doing an autumn or winter race, or if you're doing a mountain ultra or race where the weather's very changeable, there may be snow or an icy wind at the top. And as I said, for the comfort factor, really, really good on these. So my bonus item for the mountains is this, which is a small pocket knife. It's super lightweight. It is made by Opinel, but I like to take this along with me just in case I need to, for instance, cut up a bandage from my first aid kit, or if I've got food to cut up, or if I want to open a food packet, then this is just really useful to have in my pack. And it's super lightweight, so you really, really don't notice it. It hardly weighs anything. And I actually bought this knife when Carla and I went to recce the Ultra Trail Snowdonia route last summer. So got it from a little shop in Llanberis, which was, I guess, like an adventure shop, and they also had really good coffee there as well. I can't remember the name of the shop. If anyone knows the name of it, do pop it in the comments. But that is my bonus item for the mountains, so a small pocket knife. So those are a few bits of kit that I've been trying and testing out in training and that I'm thinking of taking along to the UTS 100K. I'm going to do a more detailed kit breakdown with the mandatory kit list in a later video. And do let me know in the comments below if you've got any kit favourites, any things that you like to pack for the mountains in particular. And thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.